Let me tell you the true story behind why Burkina Faso grounded Nigerian aircraft and then detained 11 military personnel belonging to Nigeria. Why Burkina Faso decided to disrespect Nigeria this much over such a little incident. Anyway, we may call it little. And why is Nigeria government keeping quiet? I will tell you why. Now, let's start this way. Now, you can choose to believe me. You can choose not to. I'm not going to force you. Okay? Now, if you remember, when Traore became president, when they took over through a military coup, allegedly, Tinubu made effort to trap Traore or drag him out of Burkina Faso through Macron. Can you remember that? There were videos flying around the internet that Tinubu made a phone call to Traore and asked him to leave Burkina Faso, come to Villa in Abuja here for a meeting. And then the guy was so smart that he avoided that, allegedly. And then, how many of you also can remember when it happened in Niger? The Nigerian government did everything possible to remove that, the juntas immediately. They did everything, and then later on, those guys found their way, and then they're still there. Can you remember that? Now, there is this feeling that Nigeria is working for France. There is this feeling that Nigeria is the police of Africa. There is this feeling that Nigeria is just a toothless bulldog, that Nigeria is the problem of Africa, especially West Africa. Yes. So those Sahel countries actually don't like Nigeria. They're not happy with Nigeria, and they have their reasons for these things I just mentioned. Now, let's get back to what happened. When the military took place over in Benin Republic, Nigeria swung into action, remembering what happened previously. They didn't want to waste any time before this thing would cool down, and then countries would start saying, no, be careful, don't let things escalate. So they swung into action and then trotted from what I have. Although there are people saying that this thing is actually taking place. I'm asking for fact, nobody's talking. So let me go with what public opinion is saying. So they swung into action and then trotted the whole thing immediately, and then Pascal Tigri went into hiding. Now, what happened in Burkina Faso? Okay, to Burkina Faso was a kind of espionage, because Nigeria had no reason to be in Burkina Faso yesterday. Nigeria said that military aircraft was on logistic mission, taking some things to Benin, and then somehow they found themselves, there was a technical glitch or whatever it is, and then they had to force themselves to land in Burkina Faso. But look at the map. Look at the map very well. Where is the connection between Nigeria and Burkina Faso if you are going to Benin? Look at it. Look at Benin is just in between Nigeria and Burkina Faso. Look at it very well. So you have, in fact, if you're going to go to Burkina Faso, you have to go through somewhere around the north. Can you see? Look at the route. Now, it's a land border. Nigeria and Benin is a land border. So how did Nigeria find themselves in Burkina Faso? Can you think about that? So Traore, being a smart guy, understood very well that it is very possible that Nigeria came to inspect and see how their military is behaving. Because look at the borders between Niger and Burkina Faso. Very close. It's only Mali that's a bit distant. Okay, look at the borders. So Nigeria actually allegedly was going there to see what they were doing, if they were going to help the Benin Republic guys. And that was why they went there, and then they were trying to monitor the movement of those Sahel states. Okay, and then they landed there and then pretended that something happened. Now, these guys will not buy that story. And they said, you guys landed, you crossed our airspace without any authority. In fact, there was no need for it. I don't even know what Nigeria will say. And it's so embarrassing. That's why the government is keeping quiet. It's so embarrassing that the big brother in Africa, the most populous black nation on earth, was, seriously, you have your military detained in Burkina Faso. It's like Nigeria detaining the military of American military. Oh my goodness, it doesn't make any sense. Is it not a shame? That's why they're keeping quiet. I believe they are, secretly taking things over to see if they can just, let's say, just end this thing peacefully and then get out of it. Burkina Faso has warned them that next time it happens, we will neutralize it. What that means is this: anyone we see again will shoot them. We go shoot them. down immediately. And you cannot do them anyhow, because if you do anyhow, they will tell Russia. I mean, you know, they fear Russia. Anyway, it's getting too long anyway, but that's just what has happened. That's the real story behind it. All right? Although, allegedly. This is what Beaver knows for now. What do you know?